When we last left Liberty Prime, he was still in pieces, hanging from the scaffolding at the Boston airport. We built his limb actuators, and Doctors Lee or Skara are working on the power supply problems. All that's left is to rearm Liberty Prime, and to do that, we have to head to the glowing sea. Proctor Ingram told us that the Brotherhood found evidence of a pre-war stash of nuclear bombs, a huge stockpile of them that they could pilfer for Liberty Prime to use. They gave us the general location of the stash. Our job is to search the glowing sea until we find them and retrieve them for the Brotherhood. To coordinate our efforts, we're supposed to meet Scribe Halen at Waypoint Echo, just on the edge of the glowing sea. So hopping into a vertibird, we can take it to the edge of the glowing sea and reunite with Scribe Halen, whom we haven't seen for quite some time.
Halen?
It's good to see you again, Knight. You've come a long way since you stumbled into the Cambridge police station.
I'd rather discuss the mission, Halen.
Of course.
How have things been over there?
Pretty well, actually.
I'm surprised you've survived over there without my help.
Now that the Pridwin's here, we don't really need you anymore.
Thanks, Halen. I assume the place is still in one piece.
We're doing the best that we can. We've had the occasional synth attack, but so far we've been able to keep them from overrunning us. Thanks to the reinforcements and the air support, I'd say that site was secure.
What about those feral ghouls? They still a problem?
With a vertibird at our disposal? Not a chance.
Don't underestimate the Institute, especially with teleporter technology at their disposal.
Don't worry. We won't let any of them run us out of there.
Don't get overconfident. That's what got you into trouble with those ferals I helped you with.
I appreciate your tactical assessment, Knight.
That's not surprising. After all, it's in good hands.
I appreciate that. Anyway, I know you don't have time for small talk, so I'll get right to it. I've had the men set up the equipment we'll need to pinpoint you once you found the bombs. We've rigged up this distress pulsar to emit a unique tone that we'll be listening for. When you find the bombs, plant the pulsar, and we'll handle the rest. After that, you should probably head back to Proctor Ingram and bring her your report.
With that, she hands us the distress pulsar. We'll place these on the stockpile once we find it. Then the Brotherhood can retrieve them.
Why use this distress pulsar?
Unless you could locate an entire radio station within the glowing sea, there's no way you're going to be able to send out a regular signal. Luckily, the distress pulsar's ping cuts right through the interference, and we'll be able to hear you as long as we stay close to the frontier.
If I survive, you mean?
Don't worry. I've taken care of everything.
Doesn't sound too difficult.
No, not at all. You're only heading back into the most inhospitable place in the entire Commonwealth.
I hope this plan works.
Look, I know you've been through the glowing sea before, but remember to keep an eye on your Geiger counter. If you don't, the radiation will cook you from the inside out. Good luck, Knight.
And here Scribe Halen and the other Brotherhood Knights stay, waiting to hear the signal from our distress pulsar. There is a terminal nearby, but it only controls a nearby turret. We can loot some ammunition from a few nearby ammo crates, and then we head back into the glowing sea. We've been here a few times already, but it's still full of surprises and lots of nasty creatures. At long last, after venturing to the far southwestern corner of the glowing sea, we see large concrete towers sticking out of the molten landscape. And then, looming before us off in the distance, is a large pyramid. This is the Sentinel Site.
I believe this is a bomb disposal facility.
And Paladin Dance thinks that it's a bomb disposal facility. If so, they didn't do a very good job of disposing of them. We find nuclear bombs just sitting outside in the irradiated muck. Well, this means we're in the right place. And to learn more, we have to step inside. Inside, we find a large vault door. And opening it, we hear an alarm blaring. This alarm has been blaring for 200 years. I wonder what it could mean.
It appears that this facility is more than just bomb disposal. It's been converted into a launching silo as well.
Indeed, we see silos in the ceiling of this pyramidal structure. pre-war America used this place to launch nukes. Perhaps its existence can explain the glowing sea. Maybe so many nuclear bombs fell in this area because they were trying to target the Sentinel Site. Of course, they could have been targeting something else that they actually hit, which is why we don't find it in the glowing sea. Nearby, we find an elevator shaft, but it's a long way down. Moving south, the catwalk moves into the middle of the structure. But the catwalk is broken. It doesn't connect to the other side. So retracing our steps, we can go back to the elevator and follow the catwalk east. This wraps around to the other side, where we find a door that we can open by pushing a big red button. Inside, we find consoles, filing cabinets, and a staircase leading down. On this level, we find a copy of Astoundingly Awesome Tales on a console.
Bingo.
You've collected an issue of Astoundingly Awesome Tales. Giant Insects Invade! Gain +5 radiation resistance.
Comic books? I thought they were a waste of time.
Turning around, we find a holotape lying on a desk. Sentinel Site Blast Door Override. If we try to read it in our Pip-Boy, error! This holotape can only be executed on Sentinel Site Prescott Blast Door Control Terminals. So we need to find a control terminal. Exploring this room, we find a rather empty bathroom and a terminal next to a security door, right next to another door leading to a staircase going deeper down. Well, we'll use the passcode that we got from the holotape on this terminal to open the blast door. Launch status initiated, blast doors closed, force locked during launch. We can try to open the blast door, but we read an error message. Error, must remain closed during launch. Oh, so to open these doors, we have to stop the launch sequence. Well, with this room explored, we can go out the door and continue down the staircase. This leads to a catwalk to the right and another door to the left. Exploring the catwalk to the right, we catch the attention of ghouls wandering around on the ground beneath us. Dance begins to pick them off, and we can help.
Rock and all! That's how we do it in the Brotherhood.
But there's nothing else here, so turning around, we can open the door using the big red button. Here we find another blast door. And again, even though we have the right passcode, we can't open this door. We have to turn off the launch sequence. Turning around, we find the skeleton of a scientist reaching down a hole in the cement into a room below. I wonder what he's reaching for. Continuing downstairs, we arrive on the ground level. Behind the staircase is a supply room with a broken door blocking our path. This is the room that the skeleton was reaching into. I wonder if we can get in there. Continuing behind the stairs, we find a novice-locked wooden crate and a hole in the wall giving us a better view into that supply room. But we don't see anything of interest, though we can loot a first aid kit through the door. On this ground level is a chemistry station, another scientist skeleton lying on some stairs, and a few more containers. We leave this room through a doorway to the west. This brings us down to a final level where we find a terminal on a desk next to a console. Activating the terminal, Sentinel Site Prescott, launch control. Launch status initiated. All blast doors must remain closed. All elevators are non-functional during launch. The launch sequence is activated. That's why the alarm has been blaring for 200 years. But if the launch sequence was initiated, does that mean they launched all their nukes? Will there be any left to retrieve? To find out, we can abort the launch sequence. With that, the blast door on this level opens up, and the alarm stops blaring. We find containers and skeletons next to an elevator that is now accessible. Dangling from the top of the elevator hatch is another skeleton. What exactly did these scientists do after getting locked in here? Well, now that the launch sequence is off, we can retrace our steps and check out those other blast doors that we passed on the way down. The first one leads to an observation pod with a first aid box and a terminal. Inside the terminal, we read, "Launch status idle, blast doors opened." Here we find 3 entries in the first Pod Beta launch report. Test launch number 23, observing party Patrick Tharn. The bad news is we've caused irreparable damage to all the Mark 28s we've used in this test. The good news is we have an almost endless supply in the munitions depot. Where do we keep getting these things? From here we can close the blast door or eject the Sentinel Site blast door override holotape. This holotape has the same contents as the one we found on the desk. And closing the blast door, well, closes the blast door. So we can open it again and then head back to the staircase and continue up to explore the final observation pod. We see that a scientist's skeleton had been lying against the blast door all these years. Inside is another first aid kit and another terminal. Launch status idle, blast doors opened, pod alpha, launch report. Test launch number 23, observing party Richard Elmsby. We're obviously still having issues integrating the Mark 28 nuclear bomb with our existing ICBMs, most likely to do with the transitional coupler not latching correctly. I'm going to check with maintenance to see if there's something they can do. So they had this huge stockpile of Mark 28 nuclear bombs. Instead of storing them away, they were trying to integrate them with their intercontinental ballistic missiles, so they could launch them from this silo. This explains why we find bombs at a missile silo instead of missiles. But it looks like they were having problems, which means we might be able to find some bombs. This terminal also has a copy of the override holotape. We can walk away with 3 copies of the sucker, but that's it. So we need to retrace our steps all the way back down and start to explore the ground floor of the missile silo. The structure is surprisingly sound after 200 years, though we do find a few holes in the cement walls here and there. There's a wooden crate, a Mark 28 being moved around in the middle of the structure. And against the southern wall, we find a hole in the concrete large enough to fit through. If we creep inside, we find ourselves in that supply closet that we couldn't get into earlier. We see the scientist dangling through the hole above, but his arm is missing. But then we find it lying on the ground, next to a corpse? A child of Adam. What were the children of Adam doing here? And how did they get down here? Well, they never turned off the launch sequence because the blast doors were still closed, which means they must have fallen down the elevator shaft or somehow jumped down from the levels above to this floor below. Is this the only guy, or will we find more here? Backing out, we can continue to explore and loot the bodies of the ghouls we killed from above. But that's it. So taking a staircase down to the very bottom, we reach the Mark 28 in the very center of the facility.
There's a wealth of technology just waiting to be discovered out here.
And we see the bodies of a bunch of mole rats. Looks like the ghouls took care of them for us. There are 4 little hallways on this level, with containers and minor loot, and another Child of Adam corpse. But then, another mole rat!
I don't think...
Found it! Bastard July!
We may have a problem here.
Oh, I guess the ferals didn't get them all. We see a catwalk leading to a tube to the east, but immediately to the right is another break in the concrete wall. This leads to a little hole with another Child of Adam corpse, with an exceptionally rare Nuka grenade on his inventory. Moving up the catwalk, we enter the pipe and loot ferals along the way. Good thing they're all dead. Ah!
Always the Brotherhood.
Right. Note to self, expect ferals. Continuing forward, the pipe twists this way and that. We loot the corpses of ferals along the way until we reach a T-junction. It was a cross-junction, but the path before us is blocked. We could turn left or right. We'll turn right for now. This leads to a barracks And through holes in the concrete, we can see another room on the other side of this one. In the barracks, we find another corpse of a child of Adam and a number of containers to loot. There's a bathroom with another hole in the wall, and we see a ghoul lying on the ground on the other side, but he doesn't look dead.
Where'd they go?
Oh, well, Dance found his way into that room, so we need to race over to help him. Leaving the barracks, we continue straight into another hallway. It goes north to south. The south path is blocked with loading equipment and bombs, so we can turn north to try and find Dance. But then the ghouls emerge. All right, well, Dance brought a few to us. With the ghouls dead, we can give this hallway a better inspection. The southern path is indeed blocked. The hallway has caved in. So turning north, we find another Child of Adam corpse. There's a hole in the wall to the left and the right. Climbing into the hole to the left, we find a long tunnel that leads to a mole rat corpse and a Vault-Tec lunchbox. Back to the hallway, we can pass through the hole to the right. And this leads back to the T-junction. It continues north, but we can move south for now to try and explore that room where we saw Paladin Dance. And sure enough, inside we find the corpses of quite a few ferals that he killed while we were trying to race over to get to him. We can loot a few lockers. There's a dismembered skeleton in the bathroom, as well as a first aid kit. There's the hole we were peering out of, and a wooden crate next to one of the bunks. With this barracks explored, we can head back to the pipe and follow it north. We again arrive at a T-junction. There's a path to the west and a path to the east. Moving west for now leads to a large flooded room with more ghouls. After looting a first aid kit on the wall, we can finish off the remaining ghouls.
Eliminated. Accomplished.
But this is a dead end. So back to the catwalk, we can follow the T-junction east then north. It wraps around. We keep finding more dead ghouls, which is telling us that someone has been here before us. And with all of the children of Adam bodies that we keep finding, it's not hard to deduce who that might be. At last, the path opens up into a large concrete room. We see Mark 28 bombs all over the place in their little red crates, and a staircase with a dead Child of Adam on it leading up to a doorway. Someone has unlocked this door by sticking a screwdriver through the control terminal. Opening the door, we climb some steps to enter a control room, and here we find a living Child of Adam.
State your purpose, stranger. You walk on Atom's hallowed ground.
Who's Adam?
Atom is all. He is the bringer of light, the great divider. He is the infinite worlds within all of us.
Oh, right. Hallowed ground. Obviously. Just look how wonderful this place is.
Your mockery is wasted.
Just tell me where you keep the nukes.
Your words betray your intentions. You do not see them for the holy relics they are. The gifts from Atom that must be protected.
I'm looking for some bombs. Nuclear bombs.
You trivialize that which resides here. This place is holy. The children of Atom have sworn to guard this place until the time of the Great Divide. None shall enter.
What's this Great Divide?
One day, Atom will return, and his touch upon the earth will bring the Great Divide. His glow will spread, it will illuminate, and it will birth infinite worlds from within us all.
The following dialogue tree is split into two sections. The left and right options takes us down the path of wrath. We insult him, we anger him, and we have to fight him or lean on our charisma to succeed. The bottom option leads us down the path of information. We learn more about the children of Adam and why they're here, but ultimately arrive at a similar resolution to the path of wrath. We'll explore the path of wrath first.
Talking to you is pointless.
All your petty deeds will become pointless when Atom returns. when the Great Divide cleanses this world and all in it.
You know what? Enough of this nonsense. Tell me where the nukes are right now.
Your anger will not bring you closer to Atom, nor to his holy works. You will leave this place at once, or face Atom's wrath.
Choosing the Atom's Wrath option essentially skips the charisma check at the bottom and brings us to a dialogue tree that we'll get to if we fail the charisma check on the bottom. So we'll explore that dialogue in a bit. Instead, we'll try the other options.
Fine, I'm leaving.
So be it. When the time is right, you'll return to Atom, and he will welcome you with open arms.
This is your last warning. Show me the nukes, or else.
No! Your time on this world has ended. Face Atom's wrath and despair.
Sensor alert. Anomaly detected.
And if we threaten him, he turns hostile, as well as his personal assault bot, aptly named Atom's Wrath. If we choose to kill him on his body, we find Henry's terminal password and a note, Henry's instructions. Brother Henry, I have prayed to Atom, and in his wisdom he has chosen you to guard the site of his relics. Serve him well. Protect the relics until such a time as you are called for. And the rest is cut off, but the text itself is found in the game files. It ends by saying, or Atom himself returns to claim them. Or we could try to pass the orange charisma check and say, forgive me. And if we succeed...
Forgive me. I wish to repent and seek the wisdom of Atom.
You are forgiven. Take this and prepare to enter his inner sanctum. Follow the brilliance of the glow, and it shall lead you to the relics. May Atom's radiance warm your soul.
Henry walks away peacefully, and we receive Henry's terminal password. However, if we fail the charisma check...
No! You will not temper me with your lies.
We arrive at an additional dialogue tree. This is the same dialogue tree we would have arrived at had we chosen the top option in the previous dialogue tree.
Atom's Wrath? Do I even want to know what that is?
He is the great equalizer, the defender of Atom's word. Now leave this place, or I will invoke him upon you.
The top option just repeats what he just said. This leaves us with 3 new options.
You're right. I'll return when I'm worthy.
So be it.
I don't have time for this. Just tell me where you've stashed the damn nukes.
How dare you?
And with that option, he again turns hostile, and we're forced to kill him. However, this tree also has an orange charisma check, and if we fail it...
Please, I really want to serve Atom. Do his bidding. Whatever you call it.
Deceiver! Your lies will be your undoing.
He turns hostile. But if we succeed...
Atom's bidding? Your words are unfamiliar, but perhaps your conviction is enough.
And we get the terminal password. Alternatively, going all the way back to the first dialogue tree, instead of choosing the path of wrath, we could have chosen the bottom option, which leads us down the path of information.
Trust me, I'm on your side here. I want to help you out.
Atom has no need of help from non-believers. When he returns to us, these relics will carry his word and his glory to all corners of the earth. That is why they must be safeguarded.
This man is obviously delusional. I recommend we switch tactics.
This unlocks a completely different series of dialogue trees.
How did you discover this place?
Knowledge of this site has been passed down through generations of the children of Atom. Its location was revealed to us long ago by Atom himself. He wanted us to find it, to keep it safe.
We're in the middle of nowhere. Why bother guarding this place?
The relics within will spread Atom's glory. They are precious, and nothing must be left to chance.
All this seems a little over the top.
Spoken as one who does not understand Atom's true power. In time, it will make sense. In the moment when you are divided, you will understand.
I don't have time for this. I need those bombs. Now.
What you need becomes irrelevant when Atom returns to us and divides us all in his infinite wisdom. Until you're ready to become divided, I'll ask that you leave this place or face Atom's wrath.
Choosing that option leads to the same dialogue tree found at the end of the Path of Wrath, where we had to plead for forgiveness. However, instead of choosing that option, we could have chosen to pass yet another orange charisma check. And if we fail it...
I want to spread his, glory. Look, the bombs will get used, okay? Isn't that what you want?
Your words ring hollow. I do not hear Atom's voice in yours. You seek to further your own ends, not his. The relics will remain, and you will leave. Now.
We again get dumped into the dialogue tree where we have to ask for forgiveness. However, if we pass the charisma check...
Perhaps then I have misjudged you. If you would see these relics used, then Atom's will is done. Take this, and prepare to enter his inner sanctum. Follow the brilliance of the glow, and it shall lead you to the relics. May Atom's radiance warm your soul.
He walks away peacefully, and we get the terminal password. No matter how we choose to resolve the situation, once we have the password, we can explore this room. On a console nearby is Captain Dunleavy's holotape.
This is Captain Mitch Dunleavy, 132nd Engineering Corps at Sentinel Site, Prescott. All lines of communication are down, and we're tracking multiple inbounds on radar. This is a drill. We need confirmation immediately. We've got a lot of nervous soldiers over here, Command. If this is the big one, they want to head home to their families before it's too late.
Guide you, brother.
Some of the inbounds are getting awfully close. Wait a minute. The inbounds are splitting into multiple targets? Oh, hell. This is it, isn't it? May God have mercy on our souls.
After looting the various containers in this room, we can use Henry's password to access the terminal on the desk next to the turret. Inside, we can turn off the turret and then access remote door control. Standing up, we see the doors leading to a room below open. Heading downstairs, we can race into the room, and we find the depot, where pre-war America stored hundreds, if not thousands, of these Mark 28 nuclear bombs. Each of them is still highly radioactive, and even through our power armor, we pick up trace radiation simply by walking by them. There's not much to loot in this room, save one mini-nuke in a box, and when ready, we can place the signal pulsar on a nearby piece of machinery. With that, Paladin Dance walks off into the middle of the room. What is he doing? He appears to be inspecting the nukes.
Dance?
Now that this site's been secured, you should return to the airport immediately. I'll remain on watch until the vertibirds arrive.
Is that really necessary?
Absolutely.
Was it something I said?
Not at all. I just don't have a choice.
Don't bother. I'm sure they'll be fine.
I don't have a choice. Elder Maxon's orders were quite clear. I'm not to take my eyes off these bombs until every one of them has been counted, tested, and loaded. If we want Liberty Prime to reach peak fighting efficiency, we can't afford to lose this stockpile. Dismissed, Knight.
Good idea. Wouldn't want these things falling into the wrong hands.
Exactly. I'll meet you aboard the Prydwen as soon as these bombs are counted, tested, and loaded. Outstanding work, Knight.
Ha! Seems odd. Elder Maxon himself asked Dance to stay here? To count them and make sure they work? Isn't that a task usually left to the scribes? Not the knights, not the paladins? Well, at any rate, for some reason, we're leaving Paladin Dance here, which means we need to head back to the Boston airport to deliver the good news. Now, we could go back the way we came, retrace our steps all the way through the facility until we get to the elevator, which is now powered, and we can take it to the top and exit out the way we entered. Or we can take a shortcut. In the same room with the staircase that led to Henry, we find a path to the left that leads to a freight elevator. If we push the red button, we begin to see a freight elevator coming down. This is a shortcut, but it comes with its own dangers, for the freight elevator is not empty. However, upon killing the glowing one, we are rewarded with an end-of-dungeon steamer trunk. We can then push the red button and take the freight elevator all the way to the top, where we find a door leading back out to the glowing sea. If we leave this way, we find ourselves at the top of one of those large cement towers that we saw upon getting close to Sentinel Site Prescott. And so we head back to the Boston airport. Heading down to the gantry, we see that Liberty Prime is fully assembled and completely restocked with the Mark 28s. Wow, well, that didn't take Paladin Dance very long at all. Heading up to the control platform, we can check in with Proctor Ingram.
Proctor Ingram.
Looks like the Mark 28s are gonna do the trick. That was a good find.
I'll work with your team to ensure that Prime's bombs remain stable after they're loaded into his pack. It won't be too much of a problem.
Well, Dr. Lee, I have to admit, we couldn't have done this without you.
It's a little early to begin celebrating, Proctor Ingram. We haven't fully thrown the switch on Liberty Prime, and I'm just hoping all the work I've done to keep his system stable are gonna hold.
I'll work with your team to make sure that the Mark 28 nukes remain stable when loaded into his bomb pack. Shouldn't take us more than a day or so.
Well, Professor, I have to admit, we couldn't have done this without you.
I appreciate the confidence, but I'm still a bit concerned. We haven't fully thrown the switch on Liberty Prime, and I'm just hoping all the work I've done to keep his system stable is going to hold.
Are you sure this is safe?
Of course. I've checked every connection, every circuit myself. Prime will hold together.
There's only one way to find out.
Absolutely.
Maybe I should stand back.
Don't be ridiculous. I've checked every connection, every circuit myself. Prime will hold together.
I have full confidence in the abilities of everyone here.
I appreciate that.
Proctor, all the readouts look green. I think it's time for you to perform the power shunt.
Proctor, all the readouts look green. I think it's time for you to activate the power transfer.
Actually, I think I'm gonna let you press the button. After all, without your help, we'd still be staring at a pile of disassembled parts.
I'm in total agreement with Proctor Ingram. The honor should belong to you.
It would be better if a trained technician performed that task, but I suppose you deserve to be the one to do it.
A trained technician, really? It's pushing one button. I think we can manage that, pushing the big red button.
Liberty Prime, back online.
All right, let's run a basic diagnostic on him.
Diagnostic command accepted.
Give him a moment. He needs to adjust to his new configuration.
Give him a moment. He needs to adjust to his new configuration.
Voice module online. Audio functionality test initialized. Designation: Liberty Prime Mark II. Mission: the liberation of Anchorage, Alaska. Primary targets: any and all red Chinese invaders.
Now let me run a system analysis and battle readiness check.
Liberty Prime, full system analysis. All systems, nominal. Weapons, hot. Warning, nuclear weapon payload depleted. Reload required. Warning, power core offline. Running on external power only. Core restart recommended. Ability to repel red Chinese invaders compromised.
I've got green lights across the board here. He's looking good from where I'm sitting. Professor? Doctor, if you wouldn't mind keeping an eye on the big guy here, I'd appreciate it. Well, I have to admit, I wasn't sure we'd be able to pull it off, but Liberty Prime's looking pretty good.
What was that he said about his power core?
Prime's in top shape, but his nuclear engine needs to be restarted. Right now, we have him running off of the Pridwin's engines. Once I get that sorted out, we'll send him off to kick in the Institute's front door.
I don't know. I hope he's enough to get the job done.
Just wait until you see the big guy in action. The Institute doesn't stand a chance.
He's no match for Institute technology.
You say that now, but wait until you see the big guy in action. You'll change your tune.
With him on our side, I don't see how the Institute even stands a chance.
I couldn't agree with you more. Before you head off to your next assignment, I have something for you. I came up with this little beauty myself. I think it'll add a bit more punch to your power armor.
With that, she gives us a T60 medic pump for our chest piece. It's a modification that will automatically inject a stim pack when our health gets too low.
You think I'll need it for my next assignment?
I don't know, but it never hurts to be prepared.
Damn. I didn't get anything for you.
Oh, sure you did. It's that big metal behemoth standing over there.
It'll do, I suppose.
Well, that's gratitude for you.
This wasn't necessary, Ingram.
Come on. You earned the damn thing. Besides, Liberty Prime isn't about to run out and get you a gift. Anyway, that's enough of that. You better hightail it up to the Pridwin. Elder Maxon said he needed to speak to you as soon as you were done here. And thank you, Knight. Without you, none of this would have been possible.
With that, we complete Liberty Reprimed. Checking Ingram's terminal, we see that it's updated. Looking at Liberty Prime's current status, we now see that the weapons are online. And backing out to explore work reports, we find a new one. Entered by Ingram. Our new recruit came through again by finding us an old weapons disposal facility full of Mark 28 nuclear bombs. We have more than enough to equip Prime for his upcoming mission. The last step is starting up his fusion core with a beryllium agitator. Once that device is plugged in, we can pull the big guy off of life support and send him on his way. Interesting that Ingram still thinks that we found the bombs at a disposal facility, even though we found evidence that it was actually a covert nuclear missile silo. And if we chose to recruit Professor Skara, here she adopts some new dialogue, giving us the impression that the Brotherhood has given her a permanent home aboard the Pridwin.
Proctor Ingram has been kind enough to allow me to stay aboard the Pridwin. Hopefully I can bring some order to the chaos up here on the Pridwin. There's plenty to fix aboard this ship. How did it ever get in such a state? I've taken over robotic repair duties from Proctor Ingram. It's the least I can do. It's much more interesting working up here than scouring the Commonwealth for robot parts.
I guess that means that if we recruit her for the Brotherhood, she never again returns to Dr. Duff. Poor Dr. Duff. Liberty Prime said two concerning things, that his nuclear weapons and his power were depleted. Perhaps not all of the nuclear bombs have been loaded yet, which is why he said what he said, because we clearly saw them on his back. But the power core issue is a bit more serious. What are we going to do to solve it? Perhaps that's what Elder Maxon wants to talk with us about. We need to head to the Pridwin and talk with him, and hopefully we'll find Dance there to see how he fared at Sentinel Site Prescott. But we'll tackle that in my next episode. If you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a plush for sale. It's in stock and ready to ship, but quantities are limited and I'm almost sold out. If you want to make sure you get one before they're gone, snag one today. I've also got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in another way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and they gain access to ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.
Sense, FEV. Who knows what other sick projects the Institute's working on?
Attention all Brotherhood soldiers. If you have not yet received your Squire mentorship assignment, please come see me on the bridge.